They say that one man's trash is another man's treasure. So what would you do with a bundle of old stuff like this? Cardboard boxes, some old bottles, used tyres, and some mussel shells. Well, if you're really clever, you can build a house. The beguiling charms of the Coromandel Peninsula in summer are hard to resist. Originally from Kerikeri, ferry driver Gus Anning settled here after spending most of his life at sea.
I've been sailing professionally now since I was 19, and it's taken me all over the world. I've been up to Antarctica 7 times now and the Arctic 3 times, and everywhere in between really. It's been a great life, no regrets, but now I've found myself in the Coromandel.
It was not so much the place as a woman who lured Gus to this coastal paradise. Gus and fiancée Sarah Rowe now have a son, Theo. They live in the village of Tairua with Sarah's 2 older children, Bryony and Toby. They've been living in a separate cottage on Sarah's parents' property while they save to build their own home.
Mum and Dad have said we can stay as long as we like, which has been lovely. There's been no pressure to speed things along, but we're quite keen to develop a space of our own and then in turn be able to look after Mum and Dad down the line.
I've always wanted to design and build my own house, and I just thought there's surely some cheaper way of building a house in New Zealand than using your basic New Zealand building code and timber. We just couldn't afford that for the size of family that we have.
Gus and Sarah have a budget of just $320,000 and they want to build a 4-bedroom family home.
Gus's nickname up north is Mustard because he's keen as, and he is a dreamer. That's what I love about him.
Typical Coromandel weather, bit of rain. While the beaches are the glamorous side of Coromandel, the hills have long been a retreat for alternative lifestylists. And it's here that Sarah and Gus are embarking on their own alternative build. They both have Māori ancestry and have named their land Te Timatanga, or the beginning. Now this has to be the ultimate hippie hangout. G'day guys.
Hi, g'day Chris.
Nice to meet you, Gus.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah. Such a wonderful site. A hidden valley deep in the heart of the Coromandel. How on earth did you come across this?
This actually was handed down to me through my mum and dad. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to realise our dream like this.
A dream site which is already littered with the building materials for their future home.
We're building an earthship.
An earthship? So tell me what that is.
An earthship is a house that's built out of recycled and natural materials. It's a house that can make its own energy and grow its own food and recycle its own water made out of the things that society throws away.
So you're making a house out of rubbish?
Yeah, pretty much.
Earthships have been touted as the epitome of sustainable building. Early models resemble alien dwellings from another planet, and as far as Gus and Sarah's build is concerned, they may as well be. These prototypes were mostly built in the American desert, where it's extremely dry and flat. Sarah and Gus's site is cut into a clay bank beneath a grove of native rainforest in a valley that is frequently, well, very wet. So I know essentially they were developed first in the desert, but unlike there, we have slightly different conditions here.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with this?
We'll be wrapping the whole thing in a waterproof flare.
I think we decided to pretty much put the house in a gumboot, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it's got a couple of good wellies.
Yeah.
Gus and Sarah's rainforest earthship will be protected by a custom-made waterproof membrane, or gumboot. Broken mussel shells will provide insulation under a poured concrete floor. Roll out 1,300 recycled tyres, which are rammed with earth to form the exterior walls. These will be packed with earth cob and coated in a clay render. Mud bricks will form internal walls of this 4-bedroom home, incorporating glass bottles to create some pretty natural light. Apart from the living area, all the rooms run the length of the building, opening to a north-facing corridor which doubles as an internal greenhouse. Angled windows allow for maximum solar gain and provide views opening down into the valley. Timber logs will hold up an insulated roof and solar panels. Then Gus and Sarah can move into their alternative, recycled utopia.
We're huge nature lovers, and we feel, I think, most at home amongst nature.
So come up to our house site.
It all sounds very idealistic, but it's easier said than done. Using recycled products means saving in material costs, but there is a catch. Ramming tyres and making earthen homes is extremely labour intensive, so Gus and Sarah are turning their build into a workshop. People interested in the Earthship concept are making their way from all around the country and even overseas, each paying $2,000 to live on site and learn on the job from paid experts.
Brother, you made it!
Gus and Sarah are hoping this army of workers will finish their home in under 3 months. Good luck, I say.
Sarah and I would like to welcome everybody here today. It's the start of a long journey. This team here, Sarah and I chose to come and navigate this journey with us, and they're all very experienced Earthship builders who are going to run an amazing course to let everybody upskill and take it to their communities. So thank you to all of you guys and welcome. I can't believe we've made it this far and now we're here. We've been talking about it for 3 years now and it started.
So we've had about 20 arrive today, I think.
Yeah. We get more and more and more as the workshop progresses, which is going to be great.
Hosting unskilled interns to help build a house is one thing. To hope that they can pull off an extraordinary build in less than 3 months is another. I admire Gus and Sarah's optimism, but I suspect they may have underestimated what lies ahead. The magnificent Coromandel Peninsula is rugged and isolated, which has made it a haven for alternative lifestylers like Gus and Sarah. This project is essentially creating a very spacious family home on a very modest budget, but it represents a powerful statement of sustainability and environmentally conscious living.
We pretty much only need to go to here.
Gosh, looking very, very impressive, Gus. Within a week, Gus and Sarah's Earthship workshop is in full swing. Things are happening.
Yeah, things are going faster than I ever expected, really. Yeah, so we're ahead of schedule at the moment. We've never built a house before. You know, this is our first time at it, and it's going pretty easily, and it's got, you know, amazing energy at the moment. It's good.
Just bash this down around the side so it's the same height as this one.
Australian Ben Garrett is the project's construction manager, but in this case, that comes with an extra job description. He and the other international Earthship crew are teaching the novices, including Gus and Sarah, all they know about this unusual building technique.
So just take this down a second.
So the cynics amongst us would say, you know, this workshop system is just cheap labour to build a cheap house.
Yep, that would be a cynical way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that it's community building. It's like an old school barn raising. Most people in society have no idea how to build their own houses these days because it's all been chopped up into separate trades.
Yeah.
And this way people get an overview of how they can do it for themselves. So there's an education element there that we try and bring to all the workshops.
There's so many people out here and there's so much to learn from all these awesome Earthship people that have come over as well. It's just quite awesome being on site, heaps of energy. Everyone's here for a good time and to build the house.
For the coming weeks, everyone's focus is on the grueling task of pounding 1,300 recycled car tyres with dirt. These earth-packed tyres will form a thick and dense wall of thermal mass that will naturally regulate the temperature inside the house.
This is a pretty labor-intensive part of the building, but the big payoff in the end is that the house is heating and cooling itself.
Each tyre can take about 10 minutes to pound. I figure 1,300 tyres at 10 minutes each means it's going to take about 216 hours of grueling labour to create Gus and Sarah's tyre wall. Wow, this is serious hard labour. And people pay to be here to do this?
It's a unique experience. I feel like when I'm doing this, that I'm doing something helpful for the world and sharing skills with people that will enable them to perhaps live their life more fully.
It's a worthy cause.
You don't look tired yet.
But if I'm honest, I'm not sure that I'd pay to come and do this. As well as recycling rubbish, earthships are designed to be capable of going off-grid. These huge ditches are part of that plan.
These are the cooling tubes. So each of the rooms has one of these coming out the front.
So this is a really key ingredient in earthship design, isn't it?
Yep, that's keeping the building cool in summer. It works through convection. So we've got a greenhouse at the front of the building, which is generating heat from the sun. As soon as the windows are open, the hot air is escaping and dragging this cool air through the building.
That simple.
Yep.
I get a sense that for Gus, Sarah and the build team, there is more than just a house at stake here, which might explain the level of enthusiasm for the task at hand. While today it's full steam ahead, I've discovered that Gus and Sarah may be heading towards a major roadblock.
The end of the build is around about 8 weeks away.
March the 14th. I've got a good feeling about this. I think we'll do it.
I've got one big question for you though.
Yes.
You've got a consent for what so far?
Stage 1, which is our subfloor, concrete pad and our back retaining wall.
Right.
Yep.
And your architect is still drawing the roof and so on, is that right?
She's finalising the documents to hand into the engineer to sign off to hand into council.
Right.
Yep.
So the plan is to have the roof on in 8 weeks, right?
Yep.
But has it been submitted yet?
Should be right, mate. Should be right.
Wow. Yeah, worst case scenario, what happens if that consent doesn't come through?
We'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think that we're going to have that problem. I think that everything's going to fall into our lap on time.
Gus is certainly not lacking in optimism, and I hope he's right, because if their consent doesn't come through, it could put a stop to the whole project. Blissfully unaware of how close to the wind the build is sailing, the interns are still pounding tyres. To keep their energy up, New Zealand Earthship Coordinator Rosa Henderson has brought in a DJ.
Everywhere I've been and built with earthships, Africa, Guatemala, Philippines, States, Australia, workshops are full of people wanting to learn about new ways of building, new ways of living, new ways of collaborating, just getting their hands dirty, getting stuck in. It's so well supported. It's just a rad idea and everyone's keen to get in behind it.
I've certainly never seen a build quite like this before. It sits somewhere oddly between a chain gang and a summer festival. So far, it's proving very effective, but the party may be about to end, because it looks as though their weather luck is turning.
We're working an extra day today. It's Saturday. We've looked at the long-range forecast, and it looks like a tropical cyclone is coming down from Fiji quite quickly. It's about 5 days away, exactly when we're looking at pouring the slab. So we're trying to bring everything forward and keep to our program as fast as we can.
Underneath the concrete slab, they first need to lay the waterproof permethene membrane known as the gumboot. It's actually a farming product designed to line irrigation ditches, but this one has been cut to size especially for Gus and Sarah.
If it rains heavily, it's just going to come down behind the house, down the drainage metal, but there'll be no water getting inside the house, making it a damp house.
Who's driving?
I'm not.
This will be vital in protecting the Earthship from rising damp in such a rain-prone environment.
If we don't get the gumboot down today, it's going to set us back at least a week.
Push it this way.
The membrane is of utmost importance to this build, and one hole could spell disaster.
Everyone's main concern at this point is protecting the waterproof membrane. It has got so many opportunities to get shell you know, pierce it, or the wheelbarrows, the picks, the shovels, the rebar. We have to protect it as soon as possible.
For extra protection, the permethine is going to be covered with a retired sail that Gus scored from some of his marine contacts.
Gus has connections. I think it's commercially around $200,000 worth of sail. It's not good for sailing anymore, but amazing to protect this gumboot.
On top of the sail comes a 250mm layer of a surprising locally sourced insulation.
We're just bringing mussel shells in to dump on top of the sail. This is for insulating under our floor. The sail's to protect it. And we've got about 5,000 more wheelbarrows to go.
Mussel shells have proven to be an effective natural insulator, and as a byproduct of the local fishing industry, it was an appealing choice for Gus and Sarah.
Awesome.
For Sarah, the excitement of seeing their dreams begin to become a reality has brought a fresh burst of energy.
Pretty stoked right now. This is some progress we've made today.
High five, team. Awesome, guys. That's choice.
Going really well. The way I feel at the moment is I don't want it to end.
I'm hoping Sarah can keep hold of all that positivity, because with just 4 weeks until the interns leave, there's a long way to go, and it's about to become a race against the weather. Gus and Sarah's build team are racing to lay their concrete base before the arrival of a tropical cyclone, which is tracking in from the Pacific.
There's a steady line of trucks coming. I think we're up to our last truck, which is 35 metres concrete.
Their decision to go with a concrete floor is a bit controversial when it comes to sustainable building.
Usually we don't use concrete if we can avoid it. The engineering in New Zealand with the seismic earthquakes said that we had to, but we prefer to use earthen floors. An earthen floor brings with it more positive ions, so it's more like a walk in the forest.
We had to tick a few boxes that were conventional building code, just so we could keep on track with our timeline.
The pour marks the halfway point for Gus and Sarah's 8-week Earthship workshop, which is supposed to see the house pretty much finished in that time, using a team of train builders teaching keen interns. They've had a big stroke of luck. The cyclone that was bearing down has weakened out to sea and moved away, keeping the build on target.
We've been watching this weather for the last 8 days. I think there's some sort of underlying luck factor involved with our project so far. Yeah, we're pretty happy.
It's gone really well. This was our goal, is to get the tie wall pounded out, bond beam and the floor set in concrete.
But I'm struggling to believe they could possibly be finished in less than a month. By the following week, the concrete is dry, but they've only just submitted their building consent application for stage 2.
It'll be on the desk of the guy processing it this afternoon, I hope.
In a bid to try and speed things along, they've invited the local mayor to visit the site.
Oh, g'day, Glenn.
How you doing, Gus?
Good, mate. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Good to see you both.
You too. Thanks for coming.
While they don't want to discuss the consent process directly, they're hoping to enlist some support.
The concept is great. From when I first heard about it, and just listening to the team that I've been talking to, and to come on site and see what you're achieving and have some idea of what it's about, makes me feel good too. You know? I'm just glad you picked on us.
Yeah. We just wanted to live in the Coromandel. Yeah. Fantastic. It's a beautiful place to live.
Wish you all the success. Cheers, Gus. Well done.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Great to have you here.
Good to be here. We've been told at times we're a little alternate on the Coromandel, so this is in tune with the thinking, and I'm pretty proud to think that our team could pull together with Gus and the team and actually make this happen.
They're yet to see whether their charm offensive will turn into results. But with the consent process at least now underway, it's on with the build. Gus has come to collect a stash of mud bricks from nearby Hotwater Beach, which he bought second-hand.
These mud bricks are from Motueka. A friend of ours had bought them from a project that didn't end up using them, and so we bought them off them, and we got 65 pallets of mud bricks for $5,000. So we're pretty stoked with that. It just made sense to build our internal walls with mud bricks.
Mud brick building is an ancient technique dating back thousands of years. The bricks are made from earth, clay and straw. They're fireproof, durable, non-toxic and offer great thermal mass.
The ones that break, we can soak and turn that into our slurry and our mortar to bind the bricks together. So it's a sort of a blessing in disguise, really.
For Gus, handling the bricks is a welcome return to the very ethos that began this project and lies at its heart, building literally from the earth. Sarah's also getting back to basics. In her case, scavenging at the local rubbish tip for glass that can be repurposed.
Today we're collecting mostly wine bottles. We're making the glass bottle bricks for the walls. So we're looking for the larger bottles, which is your wine and your olive oil, spirits. We'll load these ones up.
Bottle bricks are a popular feature of many Earthship homes. Sarah and the team are looking for bottles that are both strong and eye-catching.
We also like to just scope out people's recycling bins on a Sunday evening, because that's where you find the accent pieces. You know, you might find a lovely red bottle, something a little bit unusual. Yeah, so that's a good one. And of course, friends have been donating all their empties. Treasure down here.
Oh, yes, a Bombay. We love the Bombay.
The bottles will be cut in half and the thicker ends taped together to form a brick. It's a labour-intensive process, but the reward should be walls which not only make use of strong recycled materials, but also allow natural light to filter through the interior of the house. Back on site, Earthship enthusiast Rosa is on hand to teach the interns and me how to make natural cob to pack out the tyre walls. I've never done this before. You have to educate me.
Well, the clay that we've got here has actually come straight from the site. When they dug the cooling tubes here, they went really deep and I saved the clay. If you feel it, you can feel there's some sand in it. It's not super fine clay, it's a bit silty.
Yep. Okay.
This is wood shavings, macrocarpa, which were gifted free, which is the binder. And this is aggregate, normally up to 5 mil is the best, so it can be sandy and some chunks is really good. So there's always a ratio of aggregate and your binder and your subsoil clay, and together it makes cob.
I've done a lot of things in this industry, but I've never made cob with my feet before. I guess there's a first time for everything. Ooh, that's tasty between the toes. Have you worked out a special dance for this?
Sometimes I find digging your heels in is quite nice when it sticks together.
Okay.
Sometimes a bit of the Highland fling.
What would be better about this than, I don't know, a jib wall, for example?
Oh, God. Where do I start? The materials are natural, which is a whole different kettle of fish from them being not natural. Being breathable, especially interior walls, being able to regulate temperature. Yep. It's good thermal mass and they can regulate humidity as well. It just takes a bit of foot stomping and you can do a lot of building for very, very cheap.
Right. I was expecting it to be much tougher on your feet with the aggregate in there, but actually it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
The tyres need to be packed out in stages to achieve a flat finish to the wall. Between each layer, a clay slip is applied to help it stay in place by simply chucking it at the wall. Let's have a go.
Absolutely, I would fire it in one of those. Oh, yeah. Nice. Good shot.
What a mad way to build.
What a fantastic way to build. We're going to build the wall out until all the tyres are gone and there's a beautiful flat wall to render.
Impressive. It's very impressive. 1, 2, 3, go. Wicked. I had been wondering what would possess someone to give up their summer to build someone else's house for free. But I'm starting to see the appeal for the interns in being part of something like this. This sense of community and the unique skills involved make this quite an unparalleled experience. Unfortunately for Gus and Sarah, it's nearing the end of the golden weather. Summer's almost over, and their dedicated labour force will soon be heading home. We're at the beginning of week 7, and we've got 2 weeks to get this thing with a roof on it, covered, walls closed in, joinery.
I think that we'll be pretty much there, bar the glazing.
I think you'd be lucky.
We're lucky people, right?
Said with amazing confidence.
We're on the same page, you know, ultimately, we know everything's going to be all right.
I love Gus and Sarah's optimism, but I'm struggling to believe they can pull the rest of this build together in under 2 weeks.
Like a bought one.
Gus and Sarah and their team that they've built have achieved an enormous amount over the last 6 weeks. However, what is still to come is quite significant. Not only have they got yet to close in the walls and get the roof on, but they also have to get permission from council to even put the roof on. Short of a miracle, I'd say the deadline for this Earthship has already sailed. It's now the final week of Gus and Sarah's Earthship build. The week that they had hoped to be celebrating its completion, but they don't have a roof yet, and autumn's on its way.
You know, we had to put a start and an end on this whole workshop, otherwise it would just sort of roll over and have no end. And everyone had to have an end so they could book buses and flights, and you know, people have come from all over the world to help us. But we're not encapsulated, but we're very close.
While Gus is perhaps blindly optimistic about this oncoming disaster, Sarah is more concerned.
I could say I'm not stressed, worried, and that I'm quite happy that it's somewhere in here, I think. It's been quite a long time.
While Gus has been supervising the build, Sarah's been the breadwinner, spreading her time between several part-time jobs, including a local nursery.
We still need to bring the bacon home. So we decided that I would sort of tick along with my jobs because Gus is really the project manager. He needs to be on site, and that's no easy task. I battled so much with feelings of guilt not being there and the new people on site wondering where the hell I was. You know, whether it's at the beach or getting my nails done or something like that.
With the roof structure underway before the council has signed it off, Gus received some very welcome news.
We got consent today, which is amazing news, good timing, and awesome to get it pushed through so quickly.
The consent felt a little touch and go. We were expecting it to come through, but we were biting our nails a little bit if it wasn't coming through this week.
By the end of the week, I'm pleased to see the roof is finally put in place. Boy, things have changed since I was last here. Like the concrete slab, Gus and Sarah's practical decision to go with an aluminium roof is outside what might be expected of an Earthship build. There are a lot of serious industrial building materials.
Correct.
Like the structurally insulated panels, it's all polystyrene.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been nice to go through, you know, putting some natural decking down, some sarking. If we did have the money, you could really go completely eco. But when you looked at the budget, this was just fast, it was easy, and it was a job done in 2 days.
Sarah and Gus and their team of willing workers have achieved a huge amount in the 8 weeks of this build. But as summer comes to an end and the interns start to head home, there's still a lot of work left to do. Autumn arrives, and almost on cue, so does the rain. With the house still not sealed, they can only hope that the moisture which will be working its way in doesn't cause permanent damage. A hardcore group of enthusiasts has offered to stay on a bit longer to help finish the build, but the caterers have left for other work, leaving Sarah to juggle camp mother duties with her part-time jobs.
We promised them delicious home-style cooked hot meals in the evening in return for big days. We've all got big days to get this house in close. Yeah. Final push. But the energy's high. They want to be here. We're quite a tight-knit community.
Without the festive summer camp atmosphere, the reality of what still needs to be achieved is really starting to bite for Sarah and Gus. There's no choice but to push ahead as best they can and try to get the house sealed as soon as possible. 2 months later, they're on their own, and there's been limited progress.
Since our workshop ended, things slowed down. You know, the house went up incredibly fast, and then we kind of plateaued, and it was all a bit sad. We didn't really imagine the amount of hours involved with all the cobbing and the drying process in between, and the earth plastering and bottle walls. Between 3 kids, 2 jobs, it's been quite hard to find 4 hours. I don't earn a lot of money, but what I have earned has helped offset the cost of this build.
The sacrifices required to achieve a build like this are often far higher than people imagine, and it's taking a toll on Sarah in particular.
Some days it's not just been about not having been productive, emotionally too. It's been a little upsetting at times because I really did imagine that I'd be hands-on every day building a home.
I'm really worried for Gus and Sarah that their build is still not sealed. The entire front of the house is open to the elements, raising the risk of mould and water damage as every day goes by. Although they're already over budget as they head into winter, they make the sensible decision to bring back some of the interns, this time paying them to help finish the build.
They couldn't get rid of me, just love it too much.
We're going into a change of season now, so it's taking a lot longer for the cob to dry, and I'm really noticing that. Our wall that we cobbed probably 2 weeks ago is still not dry yet. And, you know, whereas during the summer that would have dried in a matter of days, and it's really showing now. So we need to get the glazers in here so we can glaze it.
Having some workers back on board is giving Gus and Sarah a much-needed burst of energy. Sensing the kids could use a morale boost as well, Sarah is introducing Bryony's school class to the Earthship concept.
We can gather and use our own water, okay, create our own energy through the solar panels and the heat that's entering the house.
Are you ready to get muddy?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, what a resource to use for learning, getting the kids out and getting involved in things, and then of course back in the classroom we can, you know, investigate design and the processes and the benefits environmentally.
And they're proving a handy addition to the labour force as well.
I heard someone say to me it smells like dirt, but that's why it's called an earthship.
It's really nice that the kids can be involved with this kind of building. You know, there's not many building sites that are a suitable place for the kids.
It's kind of like everyone's put a bit of love into the house. Yeah.
6 months after the start of the build, the moment has arrived for the glazing.
This is huge today, getting the glazing in. The weather has changed considerably and it's been very muddy here. The hold-up mainly has been on my side to try and design a wooden block for the glazing to sit on so the double glazing units aren't sitting in a pool of water because it's on an angle. I think if I had had Ben around a bit longer, I think they probably would have nutted it out. But we've come up with a really good design that can shed the water away from the windows. Once the glazing goes in, then the flashings can go on, and once the flashings can go on, we can flue our chimneys, and meaning that we can light the fires to dry out our cob and our mud brick walls.
For Sarah, whose parents gifted them the land, being able to show them around something that is starting to resemble a livable house is a big moment.
Oh, is this your room?
Yeah.
They've just done so well, you know, and held on to the dream through all the difficulties. Oh, it's been great.
It's not the way I would have done it because, you know, I'm sort of a bit old school. You know, I would have sort of seen if there was probably an easier way of doing it. But I don't think there is an easy way to do this Earthship. You just have to get in and
well,
roll up your sleeves and get your, you know, get muddy.
Yes, I think what
Gus brings to it as well, that Sarah recognised as the big dream. And it's all very well being a sensible builder and the rest of it, but if you don't have dreams, then you don't go anything beyond that.
That night, the team celebrates a house that is finally safe from the elements.
It's really important that you've all been around the last couple of weeks. I think not so much just the physical build, but for morale too.
But there's still a long way to go, and in midwinter, Rosa makes a devastating discovery.
This is the layer of cob that got put on when the glazing wasn't in. You can see it's grown mould because it was wet for too long. Some of this wall is adhered quite well, and some of it's not adhered well at all. It comes off the wall. Anything that comes off will tear off. If you're doing renders on anything that's not actually stuck on the wall, even if you get it beautiful and nice, it's going to pop off eventually if it's not stuck really well back here.
Weeks of the house sitting unsealed have allowed moisture to creep in and permanently damage the render on some of the tire walls. The only option is to pull them down and start again. With the fireplace still not installed, Gus is cabling in some lamps to try and speed up the drying process.
I think it's going to probably take another month to dry this cob out as we go, and I don't mind. Hey, good things take time and it's fun, and we've met so many beautiful people along the way. An extra month isn't going to hurt.
You can really feel just how close Gus and Sarah are coming to realising their vision of a warm, peaceful and sustainable family paradise. It all comes down to how long these final stages take and whether the re-rendered walls will be able to properly dry out. It's been 9 months since Gus and Sarah embarked on a dream to build an earthship in this beautiful, remote Coromandel Valley. So the last time that I saw Gus and Sarah, it was starting to look like a real building, but with a huge amount yet to do. Of course, their original goal to build the house in just 8 weeks was never realistic. But with a second summer now around the corner, I'm keen to see just how far they've come.
Oh my goodness. This is incredible. They've done it. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Lovely to see you. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
See you again.
I can't believe that it's finished.
Nor can we.
I love the solid feel of it. The big timber beams, the beautiful rocks along the front of all the glazing. It's fantastic. The proportions in general are just big and gutsy, you know?
It suits the setting in the mountains, and I tell you what, on a really windy day, when you're inside, you just have that wonderful feeling like it ain't going anywhere. It's so solid.
It's just so nice and calm and quiet, just to be surrounded in earth. It's just the best feeling.
Show me around. I can't wait.
Come inside.
Oh gosh, look at this, it's wonderful. I love it. It has such a warm feeling to it, like a big farmyard kitchen with its family room. This is quite different to the average earthship, isn't it? I mean, it's much more connected to the outside.
It really lends itself well for play, for the children to run outside, and for us having that fresh air through the kitchen and easy access to the sunshine. It's great, we love it.
In a way, it's a Kiwi earthship.
Totally, I agree. It's the supermodel.
Gus and Sarah have done a fantastic job of turning recycled car tyres, mud balls, clay and old bottles into an unconventional first home for their family. Every detail is playful, artistic and personal. Gosh, look at this.
It was made by a good friend of ours up in Kerikeri. He's put so much time and effort and love into making our kitchen as well as our Totara doors.
Boy, it must be wonderful to be finally into your own kitchen.
Absolutely, dream come true. I don't think we'll know ourselves.
But Sarah and Gus's home is also a machine. A house that not only provides shelter, it creates its own energy, recycles its own water, and grows its own food. Oh, look at this.
It almost feels a little bit Polynesian.
South Pacific paradise.
Oh, it is. It's a really lush garden. And I love the reed ceiling too. And the bottles in here. It's incredible. It's come up so well.
Yeah.
What kind of plants and so on have you got here?
Well, we've gone for mostly tropicals and native, but down the line we'll be integrating it with lots of good, stable food production. Year-round tomatoes, lettuces, or just whatever takes our fancy.
I'd like to get breakfast on my way to the kitchen and just pick a passion fruit off the vine as I walk down the hallway.
So, into the cave. Gosh, what a magical room.
Yeah.
My first impression is really, you know, these extremely different walls. This one here being mud brick with render. I love the rustic finish to it. And then in total contrast, the bottle wall has come up so superbly. I love these big swathes of green, and I suppose that these would be all your beer bottles that you've been drinking. It's wonderful. It really feels like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
And how about this back wall here? I mean, I can see that that's quite a mottled colour. Is that still drying?
It's still drying.
Sarah and Gus have done a great job of making the rooms feel as bright as possible, but the design keeps them out of direct sun. And if I'm honest, I'm still worried that mould could make an unwelcome comeback in the cob walls sometime in the future. For now, though, the result is delightful. This was always a bold and ambitious project. It may have taken 9 months instead of 8 weeks to build, but now the family's moved in, their dreams of organic living are being realised.
Congratulations, guys. You've pulled off a really impressive, bespoke alternative build in 9 months. How does that feel?
Like a pregnancy. Hard labour. Big push at the end.
For me, the house has this wonderful ambience. It has an amazing warmth. And having learnt and thrown mud at the walls, that is, you know, there's a bit of me in there too, which is a really lovely feeling. There are things about it, though, that I kind of still wonder about, you know, like the detailing, the challenges that you had with the windows, which meant that the final glazing details, etc., weren't quite as elegant as the original drawings. But the bottom, with all your rocks, which wasn't in the original proposal at all, is beautiful and really ties it into the land. It feels like it's come out of the river valley, you know.
It's really evolved over time.
It has. When I was here last, you were having to pull down walls. I mean, it was that dramatic.
I remember someone on one of the workshops who had been to quite a few earth buildings said it usually takes 2 years to build an earth house, no matter what.
And you said to me 3 months.
Yeah, I was like, oh, crikey. So I understand that now. I understand that now. It's going to take a good year to dry it out. You can definitely feel the humidity in the rooms, and it's going to take a while for that moisture to release out of the walls to dry it right out. Learning how to build with the natural materials around you is actually quite easy. It just takes a lot of labour.
That's a good point. How did you do it? How did you get so many people building for you? They were really utterly committed to it.
I think that the Earthship concept just attracts a lot of good people. I think that it's wholesome, it's intelligent, it's the way forward, and there's a big following out there.
In the end, people will want to know, okay, but then what does an Earthship cost to build, actually?
Yeah.
It came to about $340. Yep, and that was including excavation.
That's an extraordinary square metre rate. To reach a build cost of $340 clearly isn't the real cost, because the real cost is in the labour.
I think that was one of the things I learned, is that having all these people come and help us, all these strangers, you know, it's our turn to, you know, repay the favour and help them build their dream.
We're going to be pounding a lot of tyres for the rest of our lives, I think.
Every corner of this house has a memory attached. Every bottle that was found, every mud brick that was laid by hand. Only time will tell whether some of the untried materials will stand up to the Coromandel's high rainfall. But that's the risk you have to take as pioneers.
No matter what you think of the process or the house, you have to admire Sarah and Gus for their bravery. They've taken the road less travelled to create an outstandingly unique family home. The world needs more visionaries just like them.